Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kingbolen K7 scan tool. It is a wireless Bluetooth automotive scan tool, and it makes a lot of claims. And what are they?
Some of those claims are read and clear DTCs, view live data, freeze frame data, AutoVin, FCA compliant, bidirectional, 31 reset functions, 3-year free updates, online coding, programmable module for Ford and Mazda.
It also slices, dices, chops, and minces. All right, so our first car is a 2008 GMC Yukon Denali. We're going to test and see if the AutoVin works. All right, so that worked. Now we'll go through and figure out all the rest of the stuff. This car barely runs.
Yeah, that's part of it.
I don't know all the RPO codes right off the top of my head, so. All right, so we did that. First thing I want to do is I always do a health report. Health report and system scan are basically the same thing, except the health report will give you a screen to give to the customer. This car does have a check engine light. It's barely running right now, and it's got a TPMS light, so we should have some codes to go off of. All right, so it's done all of our scans. As you can see, we have a whole heap of codes. That took right at 2 minutes, and I don't know how many modules this is, but several modules. We can make a report. I don't care about any of this. And so this way you can send this to yourself or your customer as like your pre-scan repair or your pre-scan, and it'll tell you what all you've got underneath it. So we've got some oxygen sensor codes, PO300 misfire, I believe that. EVAP leaks, and more oxygen sensor codes. So that's what the health report part of it looks like. Let's go and look at some live data, and we might get a 2-for-1 and be able to diagnose whatever's wrong with this car at the same time. So let's get into that. Okay, so from our health check screen, we can go ahead and just go directly into whichever module we want to go into. So first thing I want to do is let's see if it's got freeze frame data. So we'll go into this module. Let's go to read fault codes. It's probably under additional DTC information. Freeze frame. And we can pick whichever code we want to look at for freeze frame. Let's just randomly pick this one. And here is your freeze frame. So just in case you don't know what freeze frame is, this is a snapshot of what all of these conditions were when this code set. We've got 5 pages worth of information to look at here. And so that function works just fine. So let's go graph some data. All right, so now we'll go look at some data. So let's go to read data stream. Since it had some O2 codes and some misfire codes, I think the most interesting data to look at, since we are trying to diagnose this car on the fly here, is look at fuel trim data. So these are all of your available PIDs. So let me go scroll through here and see if I can figure out anything that I might find interesting on this car.
One thing I thought was interesting about this scan tool is you select what you want first instead of it automatically giving you all the information, and then you do on a custom list afterwards. It does have the function to select all, but on this one you select what you want first to view it.
All right, so now we're looking through it at all of the PIDs that we selected. One thing that we complain about all the time, and I got some false hope here for a minute, was, so we're in America. I don't know what pounds per hour is for this mass airflow reading is. I got excited when I saw this little arrow right here because I was like, oh, maybe we can change this to grams per second. It just lets you go to pounds per second, which also doesn't help me. So you can change this, but you have to go all the way back out to the very beginning screen to change your units between metric and imperial. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. So bank 1 sensor 2 is looking a little low. All right, so these are the PIDs that we chose. If you wanted to graph them, you can graph up to 4 at one time. And in order to do that, so you can graph just individual ones if you want. So we can pick this one and graph it. Or you can select up to 4. And the way that you do that is you go to combine, and then you'll have your little check marks here. So we'll just look at these 3 oxygen. Where's my 4th oxygen sensor at? Where's bank 2 sensor 1? Did I not pick it? Oh. I want to go back. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so that was cool that it remembered what I had selected. So as I was saying, I want to combine. I just want to look at the oxygen sensors, all 4 oxygen sensors, and graph those. And I was playing around with this. There is a little bit of scaling that you can do on your own. I was able to make the scaling a little bit different. I didn't really have any luck going this. Oh yeah, we do. You can make your time base longer if you squeeze in. You can't get much tighter on it than what it just kind of defaults to 1 minute. But you do have a little bit of adjustability by spreading it. But as you can see, we got some issues here. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with bank 1 sensor 2. Something's screwy with it. But anyway, we're not diagnosing this car in this video. But this is a car with problems, and you can see we definitely got something going on. So anyway, let's go on to some other tests. So one function that is a little unclear, even on their own website, is power balance. In the written portion of it, it says that it will do a power balance test. When you go down and it has comparisons of what the different tools, the functions that they'll do, power balance is X'd out. So I can't find power balance on this car. I'm not sure if they just don't have it, but this car, it might not have it because it does have misfire data in it. But the way that you go find it's not in a data PID. The way you go find it is an actuation test, and then misfire graphic. And then I'll just select all these and hit OK. And right now I have cylinder number 1 coil just unplugged. But it does as far as reading the misfires, it will do it. Now, I don't know if they consider this a power balance test. When I think of power balance, I think of the Ford style, where it has your cylinder's number with little lines going on it, and the little graph will, it'll be dropping down where there's a misfire. So Still not entirely clear on that. This is the only thing that we have that I kind of thought might have a power balance test on it. But as far as misfires go, at least on this car, I don't know if this is considered a power balance, but we can tell which cylinder is misfiring on it. So another things that it says it'll do is give you module information. That's going to come in handy if you get a car that say has got some kind of problem and the solution is a reflash. You can look and see what calibration is in it to see if the reflash is actually going to fix it or not. So you go to module information. And here's all of your calibration numbers. So yeah, that would help you in the event that something like that happened, or if there was a recall that was a reflash. It'll give you that information as well. All right, so another thing that the tool says it'll do is bidirectional tests. So let's see what is available. That would be something you could see. We'll do, okay, engine speed. This. Yeah, I'm going to block those drive wheels right off. All right, so I'm going to go with increase and watch the tach. All right, so that seems to work. Command states 1000. We're at 1000. So that's works. So let's do the same thing. Let's fart around in some other computers and see what else it'll do in there. All right, now we'll do basically the same thing as far as actuation tests go. We'll just pick a different module. So this one, it's got some codes in it. Let's go to it, the driver door switch. Let's just see what the codes were. I don't remember what they were. Mirror motor vertical short to ground, failed current, mirror motor common circuit open, pass and pass. Okay, so mirror problems. They don't care about that, so I was just curious what they were. So back to actuation tests. We'll go here. That wasn't what I did. Special functions. Let's do front motor test. And we'll go down. And we'll go up. All right, so that works. Having stuff like this it's not a necessity, but it can really cut your diag time down. If say this customer was complaining that the window didn't work, if you could active test it with a scan tool, you just take out a solid half to 2/3 of your wiring. It's probably an input problem, not an output problem. So having bidirectional stuff like that can really come in handy. So on the main screen, you can also go into just generic OBD mode and also check your IM, which is like inspection maintenance mode. I think it's the status of your monitors. So let's go ahead and do that. This gives you a brief rundown. There's 6 DTCs. Now, bear in mind, global OBD2 is only in the engine ECM or ECU. 7 monitors complete, 0 monitors incomplete. Stuff like this helps when you're looking at a car for a customer that, for instance, if they had a front AF sensor or wideband or O2 sensor problem, and that problem's been on for 2 years, most of the time it's not going to run a CAT monitor afterwards. So it's easy to kind of CYA to say, hey, look, you've got monitors that haven't ran, you're liable to have other problems as well. So that's a good thing to try to keep yourself from getting thrown under the bus. So anyway, let's go ahead and go into here. This is all kind of standard stuff. Like I said, I am ready. We'll go, since DTC's cleared, And this just gives you the specific monitors that have ran. The other one just gave you a number of monitors, but this will tell you specifically which ones have ran and which ones haven't. Live data, same thing as live data in the enhanced version. The only difference is in global OBD2, you can't infer a value. So sometimes with like map sensors, they'll include atmospheric pressure into the reading, whereas in global you can't do that. So for general drivability stuff, generic OBD2 is actually kind of easier, especially on Eurotrash. So your standard fault codes and stuff. This does decipher the mode 6 stuff for you. So if you ever want to go into mode 6, it'll give you, it says here mode 6 failed bank 2 cat. So same thing with evap. Same thing with these exhaust gas sensor heater. So that can help you if you're chasing kind of ghost misfires, or if you have a car that's just throwing like a PO300 random miss. Sometimes the mode 6 data can help you kind of figure out which one is actually missing. Now, I don't know why we had the coil disconnected on here. I don't know why it's not. Oh, there you go. 388 counts for the last cycle. So that's kind of cool. This can really help you out, especially like old Ford stuff. I think this is how they used to find misfires. All right, so on the main screen, you do have kind of a hot function type menu that you can get to, and that's under reset. So as you can see up here, it says that our oil life is at 49%.
Okay.
Now, you don't need a scan tool to do this, but we'll just see if it will do it. So go to oil reset. Go down to government motors. Please input a decimal number 0 to 100. So let's just do 100. Okay. %, oil life remaining. So that's kind of neat. I don't know why you would ever want to do anything other than 100%, but it's cool to know that you could. And like I said, you don't have to, this car, you don't need to do this, but this is just one of the functions that it says it will do, which it does.
One other feature we want to see if the scan tool can do it is the ABS bleed on the Prius. We've used this function on all of our reviews, and we'd like to see, this is a very common repair, so we want to see if this scan tool can do it also. So we're just going to go into the VIN, into the scan function first. We'll go to that module directly and see if it's in the ABS function is there, and then maybe we'll go back out to the shortcuts under the resets in the main screen and see if the ability is there also. So it's letting us get to it. We're not going to go through that process because it takes a long time, but it is letting us go through the process. To start it, we didn't disconnect the brake fluid reservoir, which some of the other scan tools we dealt with, it usually fails it and doesn't let you get to that next step. But with this scan tool, it is allowing us to do that process, in which I'm pretty confident it'll allow you to complete it.
Another noteworthy thing is if you go back, in both of our the Prius actuator video and in the bleeding, a lot of people were saying they had linear offset problems. That I had said before that in some cars that is they tack that onto the bleed procedure, but on some scan tools, that is a separate feature. This scan tool, that is a separate feature.
Another common function we like to actually go through is the TPMS, is registering the TPMS sensors. So we'll go in there, and like we've done before, we've gone through, we've gotten our sensor IDs, and we've just put them in reverse order. So now we'll go back out and go under special functions, do ID registration. Okay, so back in our data list, our registered IDs are in reverse order, and our tire light is off, so the programming was successful.
All right, now we're in a 2008 Toyota Tundra. I'm kind of curious to see if it'll program keys. So right now we have one functioning key. If you look up at our mobilizer light, it should be right next to the clock. It is not on. If I take the key out, it'll flash. Here is our bad key. We'll put it in, I'll key it on, and our light is still flashing. So this one will not crank the truck. So let's try to program this key. So we'll go ahead and key on. We'll go to key registration. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm not going to read this. I'm just going to do it. All right. So key on. Our light's out. Assuming the battery is good enough to start, it should start. All right, so that function works as well.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up the testing. If you watched any of our other reviews, a lot of the tests are the same, which they are very common repairs and issues and functions that are nice to have. So now we're going to go into the pros and cons section of our review. We'll start with the pros. It's got a good bit of functionality. You know, what we showed, the special functions are nice. It's got the bidirectional. The functionality is, for the price of it, is really nice.
Another pro is that it is wireless, and at this price point, which currently is $350. At time of filming, that's what the price is. Not sure what it's going to be by the time the video comes out, but as of right now, that's what the price is. For $350 to get a wireless tool that has this amount of features at that price is very nice. It also is USB-C rechargeable, which if you have other tools, some of them will have like the barrel connectors or the micro USB. I'm glad that kind of everything is moving. I don't care what it goes to, as long as we have some kind of standard. Let's just pick that and go with it. That's a rant for a totally separate issue. But so it's USB-C. The battery life seems to be very good. It will last you pretty much all day, and that's saying something for a wireless tool.
If you noticed early in the video where the charge was at, it was about 17%. And we've been messing with it for the video for about an hour and a half, and it's done pretty well.
It's down to 8%.
So
and that screen's been on the whole time.
Another pro is the speed is decent. It's not the fastest one we've used, but it works well enough for minor and mild diagnosing, and especially with graphing.
And that the speed of like the graphing, that kind of is just a across the board with launch. I have, or Kingbolen, I have Top Don, Kingbolen, and Launch Tools. They all kind of graph at about that speed. We kind of got spoiled with another tool that we used at how fast it was, but that's more or less the average speed. Same thing with like Altel. They kind of run that speed. Another pro is that you can do optional add-on hardware to it. So if you go into the tool, into module, you got 5 different other modules that you can use with this. A battery tester, so. I wouldn't go out of your way to buy a battery tester that's capable of jiving with this thing, but that's available. Same thing with a printer. Whatever. If you happen to have this tool and the printer's cheap, get it. Same thing with video scope. Again, I wouldn't go out of your way to necessarily buy one just to use it with this tool. But the two that are really interesting, TPMS and oscilloscope. So I reached out to the guy that sent us this to see if the TPMS would kind of work in conjunction with the tool, meaning that, let's say you had a car that you put 4 tire sensors in. Could you get the TPMS tool, hook it up to the car, and then go around and do all the sensor IDs and program them straight to the car? Didn't get an answer. I don't know. Point being is, I would like for you to send us one to try. Same thing with the oscilloscope. The oscilloscope, not as much. The only time that you might have to use both things at the same time would be as if like you were trying to active test a solenoid or something and you wanted to be on that. I don't know how hard it is to toggle back and forth, but the oscilloscope, Launch, Kingbolen, Top Don, they all are more or less the same thing. They're kind of like this, as far as their hardware and software goes. They're not the same necessarily, but they're very, very, very incestuous and close. So Think Tool, Launch, and I'm assuming the Top Don scope, 99% sure that they're all the same. I would like to get one of those to test as well. They're a lot more affordable than, they're sort of middle of the road. They're way less than like a Pico or an ATS scope or an Altel scope, and they're more expensive than like a Handtech scope. But I would like to see how those two things in particular work. Don't have an answer to that, but it would be something that I would be interested in getting if they want to send us those as well.
As far as a pro, one thing I thought was interesting in the repair information, you can go to the internet, you can go to Google Chrome, and I thought the loading was actually pretty reasonable speed for having access to something like this. So you can Google and go to your favorite.
You can go to Automotive Insight and watch how to replace wheel bearings.
Exactly. Now to the con section, I only have really one thing to say that I didn't care for. It was just sort of the functionality between screens of outside of the scan tool function of basically back where we were onto the internet. You know, if you go forward or backwards, you can't go back to the home screen to get access to the scan tool. You got to keep swiping back.
Yeah, so if you're like 7 or 8 pages deep, it takes a while.
There's not a lot of controls in the
ordinarily
function.
I mean, I kind of figured you could scroll down on like from top to bottom to get back, but you can't get it from there, and you can't do it from the bottom up or left to right. Well, left to right just takes you back 1 page, and it's only got 1 button on it, and that button doesn't take you back either. So unless there is some method that I'm not aware of, that can be.
And that's just secondhand functionality. So
now on the flip side, when you're in the tool, you always have a button to be able to take you back to the main page, but not if you're surfing the web. The other con that I have is the same con that I have with every launch tool or top-down tool or Kingbolen tool that we use, all this same base software. Units. I was so excited when I saw the little arrow next to the pounds per minute, thinking, man, I might actually be able to switch to grams per second. Just to be crushed by just life in general. So all of the Kingbolen launch products, they all use either metric or imperial. You have to go into the main settings on the main screen to get there. And we are Americans. We like grams per second in our mass airflow, and we like PSI for our tire pressures. So it would be nice to have, even just like the other tool that we had used, where you could at least get to the units relatively quickly and change it between metric and imperial. I would settle for that. But realistically, I'd like to just be able to pick whatever unit I want at any given time. So obviously, we're not able to test every single function on every single car. We just kind of deal with the cars that we got at the time and kind of see what the tool will do with them. One thing that I found interesting at this price point is it says that it'll do programmable module programming for Ford and Mazda. Now, we got this tool like a week after we did our Ford Escape used ABS module. The tool that we used on that video, we figured out how it worked. And what it did, like in the Ford side, is it you have to be able to communicate with the car first, or with that module first, and then it will copy the as-built data that's in that module. And then when you put your new module in, it will clone it and paste it into the new module. I'm fairly certain that that's how this works as well. It says it has online module programming and coding for like Audi, Volkswagen. We just don't get a lot of those. So I don't think we've ever been able to test that on anyone that we've ever done, because we just don't do much of it.
Do your own research, read what it says it can do, and the functionality list, and also coverage list of what special function, if you're looking for your vehicle, just to make sure that it is listed. Some final thoughts on the back of the box here. It's listed for main features. It lists this for end users and DIYers. I do think that kind of sums us up really well. Like I said before, maybe a little bit middle gray kind of diagnostic, because the functionality is pretty good, but this does, I think, lean a little bit more towards DIY.
Yeah, my final thoughts are, I think this is a fantastic tool for the price. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be able to do everything, $4,500 Altel is going to do, or a $7,000 Snap-on is going to do. It'll do a whole lot. It'll probably do 85-90% of what it'll do at a fraction of the price. So,
yeah, the price is what makes it appealing.
And the fact that you get 3 years for free updates.
Yeah.
This tool costs less than it costs to update my Solus Edge for 6 months.
My Altel is like $1,200 to $1,500 to update it.
So, yeah, I've got no real complaints about it. I mean, for this price, and especially with the ability to add stuff onto it, I think this is a great first scan tool if you're, getting your feet wet in the business, or if you're just a kind of an avid DIYer. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap this one up for today. Hopefully we're on a thumbs up from you. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. We have new content for you every single week, so consider subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
May not have all your answers. Hopefully you had some. That being said, see you on the next one.
I'll pick you up at 8. You probably won't be awake. Call yourself an Uber, babe. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
One other con, it says to keep this away from water, gasoline, and any other liquids.
All right, activate the purge valve. Joe.
It's activated! The First Pro,